Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio. And now, here's our host, Dr. Vanessa Anceloni.
Welcome, dear listener, to Kardec Radio. Today, the show is about the Happy Movie, a movie that was put together to talk about how people actually feel happy. It's quite interesting and fascinating. And to know more about the movie, we are honored to have here at Kardec Radio the director of the movie, Rocco Bellick. And you may be asking there, why is this so important? Is this just to promote the movie? No, it's beyond it. It's about the core issues brought up by the movie. Scientists come to the movie to talk about it. People to give their testimony in all the corners of the world. It's quite interesting. And you can watch it at thehappymovie.com, or you can buy your copy there. You can watch it on Netflix. And we are going to see that in Spiritism, the core message is also about happiness. When we go throughout the Spirit book by Allan Kardec talks about ways and means to achieve happiness. The bottom line is that when we fulfill God's laws inside of our hearts and we are up to date with our conscience, happiness lies right there. In question 107, Kardec talks about the fact when we fulfill the laws, we feel happy because we do good and hinder evil. It's beyond religiousness. It's about life. It's about the core message of Spiritism as well. Well, right now, we are going to share with you a beautiful message to open the program today. And soon after the break, you will be listening to the most beautiful interview about a movie that is inspiring, a movie that is telling people a message that is so universal that no matter your religious background, no matter your socioeconomic status, your age, you will see that there is much in our lives to find happiness. Listen to this message, and I hope you really enjoyed the show today as well.
Ways to see.
People see a landscape according to their own visual capacity. A colorblind person will have difficulties to distinguish different hues. A short-sighted one will have a distorted perception of reality. Any deficiency or anomaly in the visual organs will result in an incorrect way of seeing. However, if a person has adapted himself to a visual deficiency, he will never know that he has missed delicate patterns, rich details in a picture, or the exuberant colors life is bathed in. A tiny speck under a microscope will reveal a stellar panorama. A dewdrop on a petal looks like a sparkling diamond. When it comes to the observation of moral behavior, we usually see others according to our emotional and mental conditions. Consequently, there are people who will only find faults and imperfections in others. There are those individuals who only see the dark side of things and situations. A few others are plagued by systematic doubts about the character of their neighbors. Such attitudes express personal projection, which is a way to see persons and facts through one's inner self. Therefore, one sees outside what one sees inside one's own self. Examine yourself candidly before you judge others. Never act on impulse or under strong emotion, for if you do so, you may be mistaking mere whims for sober reasoning. Filter your plans and projects through the sieve of self-criticism and consider how you would like people to act towards you, were you the offender. Be honest with yourself and act accordingly. Do not harbor unwholesome, arrogant thoughts. May your attitude reflect the inner peace you must achieve, cultivate, and express in your daily activities. When you find yourself at the head of an important position, receive kindly those who seek your help. Do not leave a negative mark on the road you march along or on the people you meet on the way, because when you walk back, you will meet them again. For your own benefit, fight your bad tendencies and try to overcome them. Each day is a new opportunity that life grants you. Someday you will be asked to account for your deeds. When we assume a task, we should set ourselves a target and speed towards its achievement. We should neither stop, curse, or complain, but move on steadily, conscious of our responsibilities. The way we see or consider a fact results from our individual capacity for discernment. Place the lens of love over your personal deficiency, and you will see life, people, and things from a different angle, through a perfect, colorful prism, so rich in beauty that you will work more as you strive to reach your target.
We will return to our program after these messages.
Enjoy this new release. Reborn for Love, by the renowned Brazilian scientist and researcher on reincarnation, Dr. Hernani Andrade. This novel describes one of the most extraordinary and genuine cases of reincarnation ever studied by Dr. Andrade's Brazilian Institute of Psychobiophysics Research in Sao Paulo State. Order your copy now at roundtable.uk@gmail.com or at www.roundtablepublishing-uk.com.
Spiritist Network, your gateway to on-demand Spiritist videos. www.spiritistnetwork.com.
Spread the word. Kardec Radio, to learn more about Spiritism.
Want to find a good way to explain life after physical death to kids or teenagers? Check out the book Message from a Teen in the Spirit World by the Spirit Neo Lucio and Psychographed by Chico Xavier. In this book, a teenager named Carlos explains his impressions on the new life in the spirit realm with his discarnate relatives and new friends. Purchase your copy online at www.ssbaltimore.org.
The Spiritist Magazine is a trimestral digital periodical that publishes the latest news on the Spiritist thought and the movement in the USA and worldwide. Subscribe now at www.spiritistmagazine.com.
In the book, A Primer on Being Good by the Spirit May May, psychographed by the medium Chico Xavier, explains in simple language appropriate for children two paths in life, the path of good or the path of evil. God has granted us the freedom to choose either one. Purchase your copy online at www.ssbaltimore.org.
Now we return to our program.
Here we are honored with the director of the Happy movie, the nominated director, Rocco Balek. He's here with us, honoring us with the happy news that there is a Happy movie. So how is that, Rocco? And thank you so much for being with us at Kardec Radio today.
Sure, it's great to be here. And it's actually an honor for me because I spent about 6 years making this film. And the greatest gift that I've received is that people want to see it. You know, the experience of making the film changed my life and gave me some new perspectives into happiness and into things that I could prioritize in my life. But it's really wonderful that people are willing to share those ideas and are interested in them.
And it's amazing. You said like 6 years. So how did it happen? How did it come to life?
Well, it started very simply. A friend of mine called me and suggested that we should make a film about happiness. But this isn't just any old friend. His name is Tom Shadyac, and he's an amazing person who, in addition to many other things, had achieved this kind of huge success in Hollywood as a director of blockbuster movies, mostly comedies like The Nutty Professor and Bruce Almighty and Liar Liar, and he called me because he had read an article in the newspaper about happiness that morning, and the article basically said that America is a very rich country, but not a very happy country. Tom had an idea about the relationship between money and happiness and how it doesn't always go hand in hand, because he said he was surrounded by people who had even more money than him, who lived in even bigger houses, and yet many of them were not very happy.
So was the essential idea to reach out to people who are there clueless about how to achieve happiness, and you wanted to give them, like, here it is, this is why people are happy?
I really I wanted to have a genuine exploration of what caused happiness, and I thought I might learn something from it myself. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't making a movie just about me spreading my ideas about happiness, because I just thought that would be boring for me to work on, and I don't think it's the best way to do it. So it was a real exploration, and we discovered pretty quickly that there was a science evolving around the study of happiness. It's mostly called positive psychology, or the study of subjective well-being. And so I was able to speak to many of the world's top scientists who have been exploring happiness, and that really provides the sort of this skeleton, the framework for the film. But then I went to my team and I went to 14 different countries to shoot to record stories of people whose lives illustrate some of these scientific ideas.
Wow. So you're talking about a 6-year time frame in which you worked throughout many countries, interviewing scientists and people in their personal lives. So was there any moment in which you felt like, no, it's not going to happen?
No. With the films that I've worked on, I usually make independent films, and the way it always happens is at some point you get to a place where you realize it's harder than you expected it would be, but that always happens. But I never doubted that we would finish the film. It was so interesting to me. It was so engaging to me. I always knew we'd finish. I just didn't know how long it would take, and that's my goal is to make the best movie possible no matter how long it takes. And that's what we try to achieve.
And it's amazing because, Rocco, being a scientist, when I saw the scientists you brought in, you're really talking about people who are leaders in the field of the science of happiness, I would say that way. Were you amazed how easy they engaged and they got into the proposal that you shared with them? Or what were the main challenges in regard to putting together this movie?
Well, in terms of the scientists, many of them are very busy because because they are pioneers in their field, some of them, and so they get lots of interview requests. But my producing partner, Frances Reed, is very experienced as a filmmaker, and she made the first approach. And I was surprised at how many people agreed to do the interview with us. Once I started speaking with them, I realized it's because they were as passionate about their work as I was about mine, and they were happy to share with an interested person what they had discovered in the study of happiness, and I was very grateful for that.
Yes, for sure. Were you impressed about the outcome of the movie? Did you expect winning so many awards and coming? Now it's at the level of a movement. I see in your website, thehappymovie.com, that now it's like it turned out to be not only a movie but a movement. Can you tell us more about it?
Sure. Well, whenever you make a film, you really don't know for sure how it's going to be received, and that's one of the great joys and anxieties that you experience while making a film. So, for a while I thought, well, maybe nobody will be interested, and then I thought, well, of course people should be interested because everybody wants to be happy. So I really didn't know. When it did start doing really well, it was surprising. On the other hand, we did design the film to be accessible to different types of people. And when I say types, I mean different age groups, different economic backgrounds, I thought there would be an international appeal. At least I hope there would be, because we went to so many different countries. The movie achieved everything I had hoped and more. And in fact, yes, the movement is not something that we started with the film, because of course the conversation about happiness is probably as old as human beings are. But but I do feel like I wanted to contribute in a significant way to the conversation about happiness and to help inch it forward in our psyches and in our culture. And I do feel great that I think that's happening. Every day we get emails from people we never expected to, strangers who write to us and tell us that they saw the movie, in Thailand or in Jakarta or, on the web because their friend told them about it. So we're really very happy with how the film is spreading and how people are taking it upon themselves to share the film and the messages of the film.
As we said in the introduction, this movie goes to places such as Louisiana and other countries, locations such as the slums of Kolkata, and it talks about people who really found happiness irrespective of some conditions. Can you tell the main highlights of the movie for people who haven't seen it yet?
Sure. Well, one of the most interesting things for Westerners especially is to know what is the relationship between money or financial wealth and happiness. And so over and over, studies have shown that there is a correlation between money and happiness, but it's not what you might expect. If people have absolutely no money and they don't have a home to sleep in and they don't know where the next meal will come from, then a little bit of money can have a hugely positive impact on their happiness if it means that they know they'll be able to eat or they know they'll be able to have a safe place to sleep at night. It has a hugely positive impact. But the impact, the positivity of that impact tends to plateau. And there's debate on what the number is, what the amount of income that somebody needs before it plateaus. But at some point, once you have food and shelter and basic things, then more money doesn't really buy more happiness. And so that is why I think we can see in the newspapers stories of people who, on one hand seem to have everything that a person could ever want. They could have a beautiful house and a great career, and they could be good looking and talented and very, very wealthy, and yet sometimes those people are miserable. And at the same time, people who could seem to have nothing, they could be living in a shack on the outskirts of a city and really be in the dredges of what we would consider to be the backwaters of society, and yet if they have a community and a family and if they're able to spend time with people they love, they can be very, very happy and can flourish. Not to say that poor people are happy and rich people are unhappy, or that rich people are happy and poor people are unhappy. It's simply that the relationship is more nuanced than most people think. Most people want to know if money makes you happy or not, and if poverty makes you unhappy or not. In fact, it does sometimes. It depends on your situation and who you are and what you do with your life.
That's so interesting. Rocco, we're going to give a short break. When we come back, we're going to know more about the countries you visited to put together these findings in the Happy Movie.
Great.
We will return to our program after these messages.
Kardec Radio, live, every Saturday at 11 a.m.
Nourish your soul with Kardec Radio.
The International Spiritist Council is organizing and promoting the 7th World Spiritist Congress, which will be held in Havana, Cuba on March 23rd through the 25th of 2013. The Congress theme will be Charity and Spiritual Education in Building a World of Peace. 150 years of the Gospel according to Spiritism. For more information, please visit www.7cem.org.
Nourish your soul with Kardec Radio. And now we return to our program.
We are back with Rocco Balek, who is the Academy Award-nominated director that put together this beautiful movie, The Happy Movie. And you can get your copy, it's already on DVD, on thehappymovie.com. It's also on Amazon.com, and if you have Netflix, that's where I watched it. You can watch it there as well. But Rocco, you're talking about the 6 years of hard and intense work, 14 countries. What countries did you visit to collect the data for the movie?
Sure. My team and I, in different combinations, went to Namibia, India, China, Japan, Canada, Brazil, Cuba, Denmark, England, Scotland. We went to a number of countries, and not all of those countries are represented in the film. You know, we shot about 400 hours of footage.
Wow.
To make a movie that's just over 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
So we really honed it down from a lot of amazing stories that we were able to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the fun and part of the challenge of making a documentary like this is that you really have to make some hard decisions. And there was a number of sequences that did not make it in the film, but that we put on the DVD extras, which is a great way to share some of those stories with people.
That's amazing, because when you talk about it, some of our public, like 15% of the listeners of our radio actually are in Brazil, and we receive a lot of comments from them. So when I watched the movie, I was like, where's Brazil there? Because we have samba there.
Yes, exactly.
And a lot of other things, right?
We shot a great sequence in Brazil with a man named Ronaldo Fadul, who is one of the first surfers to found a surfing community in a place called Itacaré, which is near Salvador, and we went there just to see what does it look like, what does a life look like that is dedicated to somebody's passion, that's a passion like surfing that may seem so frivolous and unimportant to other people. Is that something that can be fulfilling when most of our parents and our teachers are telling us to do things like strive to be a doctor or a lawyer or other things that are obviously very good things. But, what happens when somebody goes in a different direction? And this story was really moving to me because it reminded me of the value of play. In America, at least, when you grow up, you think of the idea that children play and adults work. Mm-hmm. Adults don't work. Adults don't play much anymore, and the truth is that neuroscientists are showing the importance of play, not only in the physical body, but in your emotional sense of well-being.
That's so true. Now, there's a question that one of our listeners have sent to us, and it's about you made this movie very universal by not adding any specific spiritual or religious content, but in some of the footage that you collected, were there testimonials of people who said that they found their happiness in their religiousness, in their spirituality?
Yeah, there were. I was surprised at how little that happened. Most people, if you ask them what made them happy, they would say their family. Their children or their husband or wife, or their brothers and sisters, relatives, parents. Some people did allude to their religion as giving them a deep source of happiness and contentment. I feel the movie is very spiritual, actually, and people have said to me, it's people from different faiths have said to me, oh, this is a very Christian movie, or oh, this is a very Buddhist movie, or this is a very Hindu movie because it gets at the values that we teach in our religion. And I think that's sort of the whole point, is that these values are not exclusive to any one religion. And, in a day and age when religion causes so much division between people, the one piece in the film that is about religion, I wanted to make it very clear that according to all the research, the religions that feel exclusive, that say that anybody who doesn't believe in that religion is going to hell, those people are not as happy. In other words, any extremist group, whether they're Christian or Muslim or Hindu, Jewish, any extreme group is less likely to be happy and less likely to create a flourishing in their followers than a group that is inclusive, that says, look, even if you look different than me, even if you pray differently than me, we all pray to the same God, or we all, value the same things. Those people tend to be happier and tend to make the world a better place at the same time. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, we agree with you, and that's why we at Kardec Radio really took this journey of inviting, but mostly being honored by your presence here, because it's amazing. It's such an universal, powerful message, no matter your nationality, no matter your religious pathway, no matter your educational, socioeconomic level. I don't think it makes anybody sad, or does it?
Yeah.
Have you come across anybody?
No, I don't think. No, actually, not only does the film, I think, get at some universal truths which are above and beyond religion. These are probably truths that help to create different religions, because people come to them no matter where you're born or who you are. These are just truths. But people, I realize that there's not a single group of people on Earth that I could find that was not interested in some way in happiness. It doesn't mean that everybody's equally geared towards personal happiness and individual happiness in the same way, but everybody ultimately is to some extent interested in their happiness and the happiness of the people they love.
What about the scientists, Rocco, that participated in the movie when they saw it all together? What was their take on it?
Well, we've got a great response from the scientists. I really wanted to make sure that we got the science correct, because I'm not a scientist. At least I'm not trained as a scientist. I value and appreciate the scientific method to a huge degree, but I didn't do the basic research, and I wanted to make sure. So we did vet the science. So we've gotten a great response from the scientists who appear in the film, and from other teachers and practitioners of psychology and subjective well-being, training, and coaching. So, it was very important to me to get it right, and I think we did.
And you did. I tell you that. It is correct, and it's impressive. And despite the fact that nowadays some people may take science as almost like a religion, right? It's like, oh, science says, so we bow to it. But you're correct. The scientists that you brought in, they are really leaders in the field, and their integrity regarding the information they are sharing is really right there. But there is a listener that sent a message to us, impressed about the movie, on another nuance of the movie, telling us, like, though it's universal, it feels to me that it rescues our most important values. So there is a very strong message there. It's not that superficial happiness that people are looking for. This listener was sharing that it felt that the movie reconnected him to the core values of life. Is that the response that you're also getting? Yeah,
absolutely. And it's not a coincidence, because one of the scientific findings is, in fact, that a person's values have a huge impact on their happiness. And to put it simply, if a person values money and power and fame and good looks, if they prioritize those things, they are less likely to be happy than if they value compassion, cooperation, wanting to make the world a better place. If they value those things, family and friendships, then they're more likely to be happy. So that's fascinating, because it means what you care about, simply what you care about and what you think about has a huge impact on your happiness. And that's great, because not all of us can choose to be beautiful or wealthy or talented, but we can choose to be a good friend. We can choose to care about each other.
Exactly. And it's about that social being in all of us. The greatest discussions in philosophy and psychology, it's about, are we social beings, are we not? And science today is proving to us that we're more social beings than we ever imagined in our lives. And I can tell that this movie is all about displaying it right there. We are clearly social beings, so isolation is not going to get us to any happier state.
On the other hand, it's important to say that happy people they're not necessarily extremely outgoing. You don't have to be the life of the party. You don't have to be a party animal, and be social in that way in order to be happy. And in fact, a lot of people say, and there's some research that shows that if you can spend some time on your own and doing the thing that's important to you, that can actually help your happiness. Even some kind of solitude, whether it's through meditation or exercise or a bike ride or reading poetry or writing poetry. Those things, in that way, solitude can help. But as long as it's a component and it's not an overriding, a mistake of your life, as long as it's not an unintended byproduct from, working too hard or other things.
Mm-hmm. So, Rocco, we're going to give a short break. When we come back, we want to know more about what's happening now after the movie was released and the Happy Movement and how people can engage.
Great, thank you.
We will return to our program after these messages.
Kardec Radio, live, every Saturday at 11 a.m.
Nourish Your Soul with Kardec Radio.
The newest edition of the Medium's book by Allan Kardec is now available. Purchase your copy online or via your ebook reader. Simply go to www.ediciofamerica.com today.
Nourish Your Soul with Kardec Radio.
Spiritism for Everyone, the online study of the Spirit's Book and the Gospel according to Spiritism. Spiritism for Everyone meets every Wednesday evening and Saturday morning using the latest technology in web conferencing. You can join in from any computer in the comfort of your home or office, no matter where you are in the U.S. or the world. Spiritism for Everyone is open, free, and requires no registration. To access the web live meetings, go to www.spiritus.us. Spiritism for Everyone is a program of the United States Spiritist Council.
And now we return to our program.
We're back, and we're happier than before we started the show because it just makes us smile, and that's the effect we've got, Rocco, every time we talked about the movie with people at our Spiritist organizations. We had movie screenings in which people sat down, watched it, and discussed about the movie, and you can tell by people's faces that the movie really brings in them that joy, that happiness. So did you expect that it would turn out into a movement? And we want to tell more to the listener that there is in the website this Get Involved tab, the happymovie.com, in which people can in many different ways share ways and means to make happiness a priority, as you say, in the website. Can you tell us more? How did it happen?
Well, we realized once we started showing the film that the response was very positive. It was much stronger than I anticipated. And in fact, the demographics that it reached was much broader than I expected. I thought the movie was for people, roughly middle-aged, people like me who have everything they need, but something's not quite fulfilling. And in fact, it's reaching people in age groups much older, much younger, in all kinds of economic situations. So we realized that there was a movement happening whether we liked it or not. There were people who were promoting this through their churches, synagogues, community centers, and so we wanted to give people some of the tools to help make that happen. And so one of the things we've done recently is we created a curriculum for the film so that if people want to show it in schools, which has happened hundreds of times already, there is a sort of a teacher's guide that can help lead a discussion after the film. There are also tools on the website that describe some of the techniques, some of the things that people do, some of the research findings that show things that you can do to become happier. Things like novelty, appreciation, gratitude. Novelty being, just trying something new, eating at a different place for lunch, or taking a different route to work, or doing something completely different than you ever would on the weekend. Things like gratitude. Scientists have discovered that if you simply write a letter thanking somebody who helped you out, it could be your third grade teacher, it could be somebody from a long time ago, or it could be your neighbor, it doesn't matter. Somebody who you really appreciate, simply writing them a letter, even if you don't send it, can have a hugely positive impact on your happiness. And, of course, if you do send it, that helps even more, especially if they respond in a positive way. So there's information on the website about books that we researched for the film, additional books that we feel are very valuable. There are websites, apps for smartphones that people have found very beneficial. And generally, we're trying to provide more and more information for people who want to explore deeper. And one great thing about the happiness research is that it doesn't prescribe a single path to happiness. And most of us intuitively know that what makes me happy might not be the same things that makes you happy. But what we've discovered is that there's a general field of things that do tend to work for most people most of the time. And that has to do with these things we mentioned, values, relationships, having good relationships, doing things that are meaningful to you. And so what I love about the research is it gives us some options, to try out. Let's say if you want to try something new, if you want to explore novelty, for some people it might be just eating a different flavor of ice cream, but for other people it might be, to spend your summer vacation in a country you've never heard of until you do some research on the web. So, different levels for different people, but I think that's really part of the fun. And I guess the real benefit is that becoming happier is fun. It's not like losing weight or getting in shape and going to exercise. Some people don't like those experiences, but becoming happier is actually fun, and that I think is one of the greatest parts about this whole adventure. Is it's not a chore, it's not torture. In fact, we enjoy the process, and the benefit is hugely beneficial to not only us but those people around us.
Exactly, and it's amazing you're saying this because we're just thinking, many people were discussing at some of our gatherings watching this movie. It's like they wanted more. So what is the plan now, Rocco, regarding this movie? Is there another movie, or do you have a plan?
Well, the plan is really to continue spreading this film, because although in certain circles, many people have heard of it or have seen it, but the truth is, in the mainstream audience, there's still a lot of work for us to do to disseminate the film and the conversation to a much broader playing field, and that's really what we're focused on now. We're gearing up for some events and some opportunities leading up to the holidays, because the holidays are a time when a lot of people, ironically, feel the least happy. They feel the most isolated. Maybe their relationships aren't going so well because they've been working too hard, or their families are far away. And we really want to provide people with some tools and with some opportunities to engage in some of these very doable activities to help improve happiness. And there's one thing we didn't talk about yet, but the happiness is important. When I started making the film, I sort of intuitively knew that, but I didn't really understand how important it was. And what I discovered is that happy people are healthier. They have better relationships. They do better at work. If they're students, they do better at school. They get more raises, so they actually succeed more even financially. And they even live longer than unhappy people. But on top of the personal benefits of happiness, happy people also make the community better, because they're less likely to commit crimes, to cheat or lie or steal. They're more likely to help a stranger in need. Happy people are also more likely to come up with a creative solution to a problem rather than to resort to a fight or to conflict. And so happiness really is sort of an essential ingredient to a healthy society. It's not just for us as individuals to benefit from. It's really for all of us. So that has inspired me to really want to forge ahead and get the film into as many places as we can, theaters and schools and community centers and libraries, because the conversation that I believe the film can start is one that can lead to these very real and very tangible benefits.
Exactly. As you're talking about the benefits, we also see as we talked about the universality of it and the science of it, it tells us that people really pay attention, and there is an emotional contagion, because we neuroscientists know about the mirror neurons, and it's almost like we can tell the effect that it has on people, eliciting that part of us. It's like the happy part saying, hey, you can also be happy. No matter, we had people in our audience watching it, and they were unemployed, or they were experiencing some physical illness, some emotional problem, and they said after the movie, I feel this movie is also very therapeutic. So, which is quite interesting. You've got that response elsewhere as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. Tom Shadyac, when he suggested we make the film and I agreed to do it, I asked him if he had any agenda or any goal with the film, and he said, well, not really. I just hope that it can make people happier when they leave the theater. Let them be happier when they leave than they were when they came in. And I sort of arrogantly, I thought, oh, well, that's easy. But then the more I thought about it, I said, well, actually, I don't want to make them happier in a superficial way. You can make somebody laugh, tell them a joke, or you can, do something that's sort of more superficial, and that might wear off quickly. I challenged my team to try and make a film that could give people the tools to be sustainably happier, or at least it get them on the path, to show them a way of possibilities that if they choose to pursue, they could find a more lasting happiness.
So you've had people who got back to you with testimonials about life transformation, life changing after watching this movie?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a woman at a screening in Indonesia came to my producing partner. Actually, her father came to my producing partner after a screening and said, a couple days ago, my wife died, and my daughter was so distraught she was suicidal, and she didn't leave the house for 2 days, and I was worried about her, so I didn't leave her side. But when I heard about your film, I thought, well, maybe let's just try this. Let's try anything that can help shake her out of her misery. And then the woman stepped forward and she said, if it wasn't for your film, I probably wouldn't be alive today, because I couldn't take the pain and sorrow of having lost my mother. But now the film has showed me that there are things that I should be grateful for, and that it's reminded me of the life that I do have still ahead of me. And I thought, when I heard that, I just thought it doesn't get much more important and better than that. The film could do that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing, and you can tell there's a lot of head. So what would you tell to the listener who is there right now?
Two things. One is, if you can see the movie, see it. It is online. It is on iTunes and a bunch of different platforms like Hulu and Netflix. And I hope that doesn't feel like I'm just promoting the film, but even though I made the film, it's really not my film. It's really a combination of the wisdom and experiences of literally hundreds of people who participated. And I just got to put that in one place and share it with people. So I really believe in the content of the film, and I think that's a great place to start. And if you can't see it right away, or if you have seen it and you want to know something that's more practical you can do right now, it's to express your gratitude. Think of somebody who you are grateful for, somebody who helped you out or who was kind to you, and make the effort to thank them and explain to them why you are so grateful. It could be with a phone call. Maybe you could go to their house. You could write them a letter or an email. But genuinely articulate why you are grateful to somebody. That act in itself can have a lasting and meaningful impact on your happiness.
That is really the way to go, and we can tell science is there vouching for the recommendation. So, Rocco, we really appreciate your time here, and we are really looking forward to sharing this news with all the listeners from Kardec Radio in more than 60 countries, and we thank you very much, and we hope that people really can share this good news that there is a happy movie now.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, dear listener, this is Rocco Balick. We were honored with his presence, and now we're going to stream to you beautiful segments produced by Kardec Radio's team. Dr. Marco Magalhães is going to talk about a most important topic, how you prepare yourself for medical treatment. Soon after, Bernadette Leal is going to teach you how to teach discipline to your kids with love and kindness. And later, Naur Fonseca and Gabi Ferreira will share with us another message from Jesus at Home. It's our segment, God at Home. I hope you enjoy it, because next week we have more. We have a spiritualist friend of ours who is going to be here, Elizabeth Owens. She's going to talk about her experience as a spiritualist medium, the way in which she found her pathway into communicating with spirits. We're going to talk about spiritism, spiritualism, addressing the spirits, her experience in Casadega, Florida, and much, much more. Enjoy this.
Dear Kardec Radio listener, welcome to Spiritism in Your Life, a brief moment where we're going to discuss how to bring Spiritist teachings closer to your daily routine in your daily life. Today's show is about healing. And considering that topic, we want you to think about this. When you go into a hospital or to a medical appointment, what do you do before you go there? So, in other words, do you do any preparation before going to the hospital, before going to consultation or into an examination or surgery? Have you ever thought about this? And if it comes to your mind a few things as, well, we have to book an appointment, call our medical insurance company, we have to set up our exams, well, that's all important. But now, coming back to Spiritism, what can we do to prepare ourselves for these situations? Have you ever thought about this? Even before all this, you have to remember that your inner harmony, your thoughts, your ideas, everything has to be aligned and balanced. And how do you achieve that? Well, there's a very easy recipe that has been brought to us a long time ago, and we all know about it. How many of you ever thought about praying? And I mean praying for the doctor that's going to treat you and take care of you, for the mentors of the doctor, clarifying the thoughts and ideas of the whole health team that's going to be involved in your care. And also, we need to pray for the mentor of the hospital or the clinic, the protectors of that place. We need to pray for our mentors so they can also come along and help us, as well as praying to the incarnate and discarnate spirits. They are going through much more difficult situations than we are. And finally, we pray to God so God can bless all of us and help each one of us during the healing process. And what about asking God to give you the strength and the will and to align yourself with this beautiful divine energy that's going to give you the strength to go into any medical procedure and be ready for it? Remember that the healing process starts way before you actually go into any treatment. It starts when you realize that there's a reason for everything that you're going through, and you have to go through the situation and learn from it. This is a learning experience. Dear listeners, you might be asking now, Marco, I know we have to pray, but what else? What else do we need to do? And I tell you that Dr. Bernie Siegel brought to us a list of things we need to remember before going into the medical treatment. Well, I'm going to bring a few of those. The first one is bring your favorite music. Music that inspires you to meditation and to good thoughts. Also, if you're going through surgery, ask the surgeons and anesthetists and everyone in the room to maintain a good attitude and repeat inspiring messages during the surgery. Another one is Ask the surgical team to talk to you. Ask your help during the medical procedure. Although your body is resting, your soul is very, very alive. Also, talk to yourself and to your own body, projecting all those good thoughts onto your physical body, allowing you to have a fast recovery. And just the last one, remember all the people that are out there for you. Remember your friends, family, everyone that's directing their prayers to you at that moment, and try to connect to them too, because this is going to be also really important for your recovery after the medical procedure. So dear listeners, and we want you to remember that your healing process starts with you. And now we're going to finish with a passage from the book Our Daily Bread by the Spirit Emmanuel, psychographed by Chico Xavier. Healing. It does not interest us solely to see the rehabilitation of the vehicle through which we express ourselves, but rather, above all, in the spiritual enhancement. It is important for us, the individual, to be free from illnesses, but it is indispensable that they value the health. However, it is extremely difficult indeed for us to understand the hidden lesson involved in the disturbance of the body, and difficult to assimilate the call to the sanctifying work to which we are directed for our physical equilibrium. It is always valuable to cure the sick when permission from on high is allowed, but because of this concession from the Almighty, it is reasonable for the interested individual to reconsider the questions that concern him, realizing that a new day was allowed to his spirit to proceed in a redeeming path. Thank you very much, my friends, and God bless us.
We will return to our program after these messages.
Would you like to liberate yourself from your life struggles or to find inner balance? The Inner Journey CD has 3 beautiful visualizations that will help you bring harmony to your life. As Joanna DeAngeli tells us to, live in a way that you leave enlightening footprints in your pathway as if they were stars pointing out the pathway to happiness. To find this CD, go to the bookstore on the Spiritist Society of Baltimore webpage, www.ssbaltimore.org. That is www.ssbaltimore.org, and start your inner journey today.
And now we return to our program.
Welcome to our Yes, Youth Education in Spiritism with Kardec Radio. I am Bernadette Liao, and I'll be spending a few minutes with you, inspiring to bring spiritual awareness and Spiritist teachings to our youth, parents, and educators. Our new topic is about discipline, and today's question is, how is discipline important to our spiritual and moral growth? Discipline is fundamental to our spiritual and moral growth. In order to have a better understanding of what discipline is, we invite you to take a quick look at your life, meaning the things you do in regular basis like brushing your teeth, the way you part your hair, how you tie your shoes, your daily routine. If you notice, we usually do certain things in the same manner or repetitively. This occurs because many of our behavior became a habit that we do automatically without thinking. A habit is a recurrent, often unconscious pattern of behavior that is done with a frequent repetition. We have many habits, good and even unhealthy ones, like eating too much fat food, for example. Discipline is a habit, but a positive one. And in order for it to become automatic, it needs some thought and self-control. Discipline also involves motivation, a reason to achieve a specific goal and reflection of the benefits of it. So, let's say you have too much clutter in your house and you have a hard time putting things away. The first step is to ask yourself what your motivation is, why you want to declutter your house and be a more organized person. Then, reflect upon the benefits of changing and learning a new behavior. For instance, one benefit would be finding your objects easier. Next, as you feel this change will bring a positive outcome into your life, set some goals and start acting toward achieving them. You will be doing it in small steps at first, but with practice and consistency, you will become better at it, to the point it becomes automatic and you will no longer need to think about it. It will be a second nature for you. Discipline is also connected with education because it involves a learning process. In fact, the word discipline comes from the Latin disciplina, that means instruction given, teaching, learning, knowledge. And the word disciple, from the Latin discipulus, has its origin in it. So when we talk about discipline, we are learning and teaching. It is easier to recognize how discipline can help us to achieve certain goals in our lives, like the previous example about clutter we gave you, or finishing a project, homework, or to start eating healthier. Sadly, it is not as easy to recognize the importance of the moral and spiritual discipline in our lives. Many of us may even be aware of the need to improve morally by saying, I know I need to be more patient or a better listener, but it requires too much work, and I really don't think I can change who I am. Chapter 9 of the Gospel According to Spiritism by Allan Kardec illustrates this type of behavior, mentioning that because people wrongly believe that their nature can't be changed, they often consider themselves relieved of the responsibility of trying to correct their faults. This applies especially to faults that they willingly indulge in, their pursuit of pleasure, or that would require a great deal of persistence and inner strength to eliminate. Dear listeners, our moral and spiritual transformation does require work, and it is our responsibility to give the first steps to our improvement. It may be hard at first, but the results are amazing, and it will bring us uncountable blessings. Discipline is a must to help us in our inner transformation. But the main question is, how much effort are we willing to put into our moral and spiritual development? We live in a materialistic world with a very busy life schedule, and unfortunately, this seems not to be a priority nowadays. It is easier to develop the discipline to eat healthy than to develop the discipline to become a more patient person. It is easier to have the discipline to go to the gym every day than have the discipline to silence when we feel offended. When it comes to our spiritual and moral development, we choose to embrace procrastination instead of discipline, letting for tomorrow what needs to be done today, or finding some excuses for not changing. Kardec Radio listeners, the Spiritist philosophy teaches us that we are here in this physical body to learn and grow in love and knowledge through our actions and experiences. the more we procrastinate on working on ourselves and growing, the more reincarnations it will take for us to evolve. Surely, we learn on each lifetime because of the natural law of progress. But why take baby steps when God offers us several opportunities to give bigger ones to achieve higher grounds? Discipline is a ladder that will help us to climb up step by step to reach the top of our moral and spiritual transformation. Thanks for listening to Yes. And if you have any questions that would like us to answer here, please email them to kardec@kardecradio.com.
Good morning, dear Kardec Radio listeners, and welcome to one more program with God at Home. I am Mauro Fonseca.
And I am Gabi Ferreira. Today's lesson is entitled The Offended Servant, from the book Jesus in the Home by the Spirit Neo Lucio and psychographed by Chico Xavier.
In this meeting of the God at Home with Jesus, Delilah was making comments regarding the evils of certain men who had shown her disrespect in the public square while she was trying to practice the good. We can relate to that story. Sometimes we try to help someone, maybe in traffic, maybe in the streets, maybe opening the door to someone in the winter, and then the person is disrespectful or ungrateful, and then we take that offense personally, and we think that we should never help anybody again. Well, let's listen to what Jesus had to say to Delilah about this.
There was once a merciful woman who wanted to be a messenger of the divine kingdom on earth. So she came knocking on heaven's doors asking for work. She was greeted attentively by an angel who suggested that she visit a tavern in order to save two careless good men who had gotten drunk, overcome by insinuations suggested by spirits of darkness. The very next day, however, the messenger reappeared in tears, explaining to the minister of the Eternal One that she had been unable to do what he had asked because the place was full of gamblers exchanging obscene and cruel words.
The angel sent her to a hidden place in a nearby forest in order to rescue a homeless child. But the next day, the emissary returned, stating that she had been unable to carry out the task because the cave was a hiding place for a number of half-naked men and women who might harm her chastity as a woman.
Without giving up on her, the heavenly agent appointed her to help a dying woman. But a few hours later, the worker returned blushing to the core and told the angel that she had not even been able to enter the sick woman's room because the patient's husband was in the waiting room speaking with a questionable woman about a plan to murder someone the following evening.
Although somewhat disappointed, the obliging minister of the Almighty suggested that she help two mentally ill men who were living in a place of filth and squalor. The horrified worker returned quickly the following day, stating that she had been unable to fulfill the objective because the crazed men were living deeply affected in scenes of an unclean life, and that she had been highly appalled by it.
The agent of the Most High, after listening to her with obvious wonder, asked her to help a young girl who was in grave danger. But the overly sensitive worker soon returned, exclaiming that the girl was at a wild party and was in a repulsive moral condition. And so it was that the candidate for heavenly work went uselessly throughout the week. Even so, she once again went looking for the angel to ask for work, but received the spitting response.
My sister, just go back to your normal earthly endeavors for the time being.
Oh, but why? Don't I deserve to draw nigh to a higher level of life?
Your eyes are full of ill will, and in order to serve the Lord, the servant of the good corrects offenses lovingly and silently, without being offended personally.
Jesus was silent for a moment, and then he concluded, matter of fact, those who spend too much time worrying about evil are in no condition to do the good.
Sometimes when we are asked to help someone, what that person really needs is not the obvious that is in front of us, but is perhaps an encouraging word, an example of how to treat others. So, to give us an idea, let's hear what Joanna de Angelis had to say about helping the weak.
Have compassion for the weak. Give them a friendly hand in any situation. In addition to their organic fragility, they are fearful and dependent, deficient in energy. Put yourself in their place and do for them what you would want done for you in their situation.
Thank you for listening to Kardec Radio, broadcasting live every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Email us and share your comments at www.kardecradio.com. Until next time, we wish you many blessings.